We've got brand new, fresh updates on Indiana basketball from head coach Mike Woodson.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, thank you so much for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers. You know who you are. I see you. I hear you. And yeah, I appreciate you. And I appreciate you being here once again, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. We got some updates on the Indiana Hoosiers in terms of the basketball side of things as the annual Big Ten Basketball Media Day happened this week. It was late this week. It was on Thursday. And so tons of updates on this Indiana basketball team, the program, and individual players, and all sorts of things. So going to get into that a little bit today. Plus, we'll have a lot of just generic thoughts on Media Day, and then Indiana football. We're on the road at Northwestern this weekend tomorrow. Can we go 6-0 before the bye week? We'll talk about that here on the show today as well. Well, a lot of updates on Indiana basketball from Big Ten Media Day. We're going to loop two of these segments together. It's thoughts from Media Days and just a generic, how good can this team be? Because I think we learned a lot about this team. Got a lot of updates from Mike Woodson about Kanaan Carlyle and Myles and Malik Reneau and Umar Ballo, and even heard from Myles and Trey Galloway about those guys in particular, of some other transfers and freshmen like Bryson Tucker. And man, I just got to say, overall, I think we got a lot of great info. I think we learned that this team is going to be much, much different than what we've seen in the past. And that's a good thing, Hoosiers fans. That's a really, really good thing, because we've talked about it a lot on the show yesterday about the recruiting pitch that this staff is currently giving to high school seniors and juniors is, we're changing how the offense is going to work. We're changing how we're structured. We're changing how we look. And we heard that from Big Ten Media Day yesterday from Mike Woodson, from Myles, and from Trey Galloway. They told us that as well, that it's happening right now. And so with all the good things that were said, I think it's all going to be true. I just feel that all of this is going to come together the way that we believe it's going to. Now, the question is, does that lead to success on the floor? I don't know. We're going to find out this year. We'll all find out together. But I'm really excited about this team, and you should be too, because how good can they be? I think they can be a legitimate contender in the Big Ten. I think they can not only make the NCAA tournament, something we did not do a year ago, but I also think we can make a run in the NCAA tournament. And man, that's what we've been missing here in Bloomington for quite some time. You listen to Mike Woodson talk and these players talk and people around the program talk. I'm hyped up. I'm excited. I think we could really do some damage this season. Now we got to kind of, pull that back a little bit. And I'm not saying limit our expectations, but we just have to see what we have. And Mike Woodson mentioned it yesterday. This game, the exhibition game, the charity game coming up against Tennessee is going to tell us a ton about where we are in October before the season starts in November, and you go through the non-conference schedule. Then you've got your couple conference games in there, then the rest of non-con, then your full-on Big Ten schedule. But man, the way they talked, I can't get over how excited I am for this current team. Some things that he had to say talking about Mike Woodson here from Big Ten Media Day, and you can go and find all of this. There's quotes and stories and articles everywhere you look, but he had positives about almost everybody. I mean, he was asked a lot of questions. Yes, he was. He was asked a lot of questions. Even dumb ones too, like, oh, about your vacation. And nobody cares that you vacationed in California. And I'm not yelling at him, just yelling at media. Nobody cares that he vacationed in California. They did ask him a little bit, and the players too, about football, and I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a really neat thing where Woodson and even some of the players gave their thoughts about the football success and how that helps Indiana as a whole. But the things that stood out to me, all right, about Mike Woodson, he talked about Jakai Newton, got a huge update on him. He is healthy, but maybe not back to 100%, and he's not playing every day. So there's one thing we need to know, but says he could be the most explosive guy we have on the team. Think about that for a second. Jakai Newton could be the most explosive guy on the team right now. All you got to do is get him on the floor. So that was really cool. We did learn that Trey Galloway, who was at Media Day, we learned that he's still not 100% healthy. He's still not giving it a full 100% go, and they're not sure exactly when that's going to be. So for those of you that still are wondering if he's going to be in the starting lineup or not, the starting rotation, especially early on, I don't see it happening, even with the health problems. And even though I don't think he's a starter in general, the health problems aren't going to help that, okay? So keep that in mind. He talked about Malik Reneau. This was fascinating to me. Talks about Malik Reneau and how he has matured, how he's developed, how he's really focused on his game and he's focused on getting better. We saw him do that from his freshman season to his sophomore season. We're looking to see him from the seasons he's been here, right? I want to see him do that again. Mike Woodson is predicting it. Mike Woodson tells us that he takes or has taken different steps on his health and his mindset in the game and how he's going to stay out of foul trouble and those types of things. Man, that's great news. That's great news. And overall, I think if you are Mike Woodson in terms of what Malik Reneau can bring to you, he's going to be one of your go-to guys. They were also asked about Umar Ballo and how often they would be on the floor together. And Mike Woodson kind of said, I don't know. I mean, we don't know what that's going to look like yet. But the thing I want to highlight, and we'll have to take this into the second segment as well, was Myles Rice and Kanaan Carlyle. There was not enough good things to be said about these two guys from Woody and from the players themselves. Rice talking about Carlyle, Galloway talking about both of these guys. And all I'll say, I know we're about to get to our second segment here. All I'll say is from what was said at Media Day, Mike Woodson made the right decision. They made the right call, him and this coaching staff, by going and getting Myles Rice and getting Kanaan Carlyle. They made the right call. They were the correct additions for this Indiana basketball team. Just listen to what was said. Read the comments and how they describe these two guys. More on that coming up next in our next segment on Locked on Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked on Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, we got another big Sunday coming up of football, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view play-by-play, and also so much more on the same page where you place your bets. It's your one-stop shop. Just pull up FanDuel.com. It's got everything you need. If you want to place live bets, if you're trying to get stuff in for the early games, or, hey, maybe your bets are already done by halftime, but you're trying to get some in for the later slot or even for Sunday Night Football. One place to go, FanDuel.com. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So go to FanDuel.com today to get started. Welcome back into Locked on Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out my everydayers, and want to remind you that this show is free to you every single day, Monday through Friday, whether you're on audio, whether you're on video on the YouTube side. This show is free to you Monday through Friday. So if you're looking for an easy way, a quick way to support me, support this show that hopefully you're really enjoying, do a few things for me real quick, please. Like this video on YouTube. That shares it, spreads it, other people can find it. Be sure you comment down below. What did you think about what was said at Big Ten Media Day? Were you impressed by Mike Woodson? Were you impressed by Trey Galloway, Myles Rice representing Indiana for the first time? Drop your comments down below in the YouTube comments. And then the best way to support the show, the best way to help us out is to subscribe to the channel. Right next to the Locked on Hoosiers logo, it's a little oval. Hit subscribe. That tells me you like the content, you want to see more, and that you have become an everydayer. We're well on our way to 3,100 subscribers. So thank you so much for doing that. Really do appreciate your support. Well, more from Big Ten Media Day, and left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger there, right? A hook, if you will, talking about Myles Rice and Kanaan Carlyle. And I am so just overly pumped for these two guys to be on the floor for Indiana, be on the floor at the same time, because they are going to be the core of this offense truly changing its identity. And I think there's a lot of pressure on them, not bad pressure, just I think maybe expectation is the better word to use there on what they're going to bring to this Indiana squad. Offensively, defensively, leadership-wise, so much of that for this Indiana team. And if you don't believe me, listen to what Mike Woodson has to say. Listen to what Trey Galloway said. Listen to what Myles Rice said about his counterpart, Kanaan Carlyle. These guys are absolute dogs, and I cannot wait to see them on the floor. Here's some comments about Kanaan Carlyle from Mike Woodson. He says he has come in and shown he can defend and he can score. That's a bonus. He has shown us that. Myles has shown us that. We know what Trey is capable of doing. We just got to get him healthy 100%. I like the pieces that we have. Everyone is working to try to do the right things. He goes on to say that Carlyle is a really, really good defender, has come in and put in the work this offseason, and has proven that he wants to be there. That's the right things, man. That's the right things to hear. And I'm not saying that Mike Woodson's just saying the right things to make us happy. Oh, no. He's saying it because it's true. He's saying it because Kanaan Carlyle has come in and elevated the team immediately. And I mean instantly. That's why you go and get Kanaan Carlyle. Then the thoughts and comments about Myles Rice have been phenomenal. The leadership aspect is what everybody has highlighted with Myles Rice. Trey Galloway talked a lot about that, said, man, he stepped in day one. Day one, he was a leader on this team. He's vocal, he's active, he's physical, and he just does his job, and he does it really, really well. I also want to look at a comment from Myles Rice where he talked about Kanaan Carlyle, who said he's a really good leader too. He's just a little bit on the quieter side. I'm going to say it. I'm going to let you know is what Myles said. He said, Kanaan Carlyle, though, he's on the quieter side, but you tell him what you need, and he's going to get it done. And that's a really good duo together. Think about that for a second. Think about that guard combination at 1 and 2. Your point guard is loud. He is, I'm not going to say obnoxious, but gets his thoughts out and lets you know what he's thinking. And he's a vocal leader. You pair that with the silent assassin, if you will, of Kanaan Carlyle. Both of these guys can score. Both of these guys can orchestrate. Both of these guys can defend. And both of these guys can lead. That's what you brought in this offseason. And you know what? That's what we've been missing. We've been missing all of that at Indiana for a while now. Yeah, we've had some one hitters, two hitters, quick hitters, whatever you want to say. But having that consistently is such a key point to being a good basketball team, which is what we're trying to get in the high school rankings, right? That's why you go after the Michael Brown Juniors and the Braylon Mullins of the world. That's why Trent Sicili's. That's why you go after them, because that's what you hope they're going to bring. We didn't do that through high school recruiting very much. So we said, to heck with this. We'll go find them in the transfer portal. And that's exactly what we did. So I think they're going to elevate this team so much and make them so much better. I did an episode on this. I can't remember if it was this week or the week before, but I said this could be the best guard duo in the Big Ten. And I still believe that. And these comments from the coach and players just backed that up. That double, triple down for me to tell me they were the right dudes for the job. They were the right ones to bring in for this Indiana basketball squad. They go on to talk about Myles Rice does, and he just looks like he looks smart. He looks like he's a genius. He's got a high basketball IQ. And he talked about Umar Ballo yesterday and said, man, I'm glad that boy's on my team. I'm glad he is on my team because when he sets screens, he sets big screens is what he said. And look, Umar is such a physical specimen. He's a freak of an athlete. Look at him. He's huge. He is, we use the term he's a tree a lot of times. It's a very loose term for big guys in basketball. This dude is a statue. This dude's a monument. I mean, he is massive on the basketball floor. But what I love about Oumar Ballo is he gets up and down the floor, and he is physical, but he's fast. And when he wants to be, I will say there has been criticism of that, but when he sets a screen, you're going to feel it. And we know Indiana's going to run pick and roll. Oh my gosh, we're going to run pick and roll like crazy. I hope. We should have done it even more a year ago, but we better do it this year. And then I think the comment, I know we're bouncing around, but I'm trying to hit as many of them as I can because these are all really, really important. The one that I think has fans all hyped up, all excited, and it was hit by all three guys, Woodson, Galloway, and Rice. Woody says, oh, we're going to shoot more threes this year. He said, we're already doing that. He even made a joke. He said, and I know that's going to make you all happy. Yeah, absolutely it'll make us happy. And we knew that about this team. I guess we were expecting it with this team. But it's nice to hear it from the coach's mouth. It's nice to hear it in his own words. Hey, we're going to shoot the basketball a little bit. We're going to shoot it more. And I think Trey and Myles did a good job of just admitting it. Like, look, our numbers weren't great last year. And Trey said this a little bit more since he was obviously on the team last year. He said, look, our numbers just weren't great. We were a very good team inside, and we were not good from the outside. That's going to change. We have the dudes in place to make that possible. Galloway, Rice, Carlyle, Mbako, Goody, Hatton. You have those players. Bryson Tucker. Woodson had really good comments about him. Jakai Newton, if he gets on the floor. Like, all of these guys will elevate your three-point game. You just have to have an offense that allows you to do it. And I think Indiana's going to have that. We've heard it. We're being told. It comes down to, does it actually happen? Will they actually shoot the ball more? And let me say this too. It's not about just shooting a lot of threes. It's about what? It's about making a lot of threes. I don't care if you shoot 100 of them in a basketball game. If you only make 5 of them, that ain't good. If you only make 10 of them, that ain't good. I don't care if you shoot 5, but you better make all 5. You see what I'm saying here? So I hope that we don't fall into that trap this year where we're just like, oh, we're changing our identity. We're shooting it. Go. And we just shoot it 50 times and we don't make but 10 of them. Like, no, that's not cool. That's not what we're looking for here. We want to shoot them effectively and make them effectively. And if we can do that with the guards that we have, and it sounds like we are, then we're going to be just fine. So much more that was said at Big Ten Media Day. We'll continue to break it down into next week too, because practices are really starting to ramp up. This is the unofficial start of the college basketball season. Be excited, Hoosiers fans. We've got Indiana basketball happening right now in the month of October. Exhibition games coming up, and we're less than a month away from the start of the Indiana basketball season. But the good news is, we're still in Indiana football season, baby. And we have Indiana football this weekend. Hoosiers on the road at Northwestern. We'll talk about that coming up in our final segment on Locked on Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked on Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the go-to ticketing app for me. I use it all the time. I use it. My family uses it. My friends use it. We got rid of all the other ones because Game Time is the only place that we want to go. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. I use it for sports, comedy, theater, music, you name it, they have got it. Game Time, I use it every single time. You can get last-minute tickets. You can buy 6 months out. And my favorite parts of the Game Time app, they're all in pricing. That's one of my favorites. You toggle this feature, and it shows you your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. So be sure that when you turn this on, you'll know exactly how much you're going to pay straight up at the beginning. And their lowest price guarantee, it ensures that you get the best price, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out my everydayers. I appreciate you, man. We're having so much fun on this show, whether you're on audio, whether you're on video. Just want to remind you, this show is free to you every single day, Monday through Friday, 365 days a year. I guess that's not technically how that math works, but you know what I mean. 52 weeks a year. How about that? Monday through Friday, 52 weeks a year. You can catch us every single day with Locked On Hoosiers. Well, we got a little football to talk about as Indiana Kurt Cignetti. I get that mixed up so much. Can we say that for a second? Coach Kurt Cignetti. That's a mouthful. They go on the road to Northwestern this weekend, trying to go 6-0, start 6-0. We know what the numbers were from a week ago. 57 years since this team started 5-0, and now they can try and back it up by going 6-0. They're on the road at Northwestern, all right? A team that is 2-2 overall, only played 4 games so far this season. They've already had one of their bye weeks, right? It was this week. And they're 0-1 in conference play thanks to a loss to Washington a while back, 24-5. Yeah, 24-5. That's not very pretty of a football score. And look, Indiana is favored by 2 touchdowns in this game. We are a 14-point favorite according to our friends at FanDuel right now. There's a reason for that. We're the better football team. We're the much better football team. Curtis Rourke is better offensively running as a quarterback, and he's just the better quarterback in this game. Our offense is the better offense. Our defense is better. Aiden Fisher is that dude. Everything we do is better than what Northwestern has to offer. But as it has been in, I would say, 4 out of 5 games this year, it has nothing to do with the opponent. Nothing. Not a single thing. Last week was a little bit different. Even if I said it, I felt that Indiana had to play really well, but also shut down what Maryland wanted to do. Well, we shut down what they wanted to do. I'm not going to say we played really well, but we played good enough to win. This week, it's all about us. It's all about us. It's about Indiana offensively, not turning it over, having effective drives, and scoring at the end of it, which when we don't turn it over, that's exactly what we do. And defensively, getting after it again. Let them loose. Northwestern can't move the ball. They can't do anything. They couldn't move it on Washington's defense. Come on, man. Indiana should have a field day tomorrow on defense. Special teams, do your thing. Just play clean football. Get in and get out. Treat this like you treated the UCLA game. And I hate to loop these 2 teams together. Sorry, my boy Zach Anderson-Yoxheimer at Locked On UCLA. But this kind of has the same feel to it. It's a weird road trip. It's a weird atmosphere. It's a stadium that holds about 500 people right now with all the renovations they have going on. I don't care if Northwestern rolls out the next Joe Montana. They're not good enough to win this game. It's all about what Indiana does. If we show up and play sloppy, if we start slow, if we make stupid penalties, turn the ball over, and we're not ready to go, guess what? This is still a Big Ten team, and Northwestern has enough dudes to make some plays and upset you. And that would be crushing right now. Absolutely crushing to start 5-0, have everything out in front of you, and drop a silly game like this. But can we all admit that if there's one man that through 5 games this season has proven that that's not going to happen, it's Kurt Cignetti. It is head coach Kurt Cignetti, who has proven to us time and time again in the offseason and now in season, his team will be ready to go. And I always say, the road team benefits from early kicks. I've always said that in college football. And while this isn't an early kick, it is one of those mid-afternoon games, right? 2:30, 3:30, depending on where you are. It's just one of those games where not a whole lot of people are going to be there. It's not going to be televised like crazy. The country ain't watching this game. Sorry, it's just the truth. But we'll be watching it. And we're going to be watching intently. I think Curtis Rourke is your answer here. If he has a good day, Indiana's fine. If he struggles like he did a week ago, who knows? You never know what could happen. Good news is we saw him struggle a week ago, and he bounced back pretty well. So overall, we're a 2-touchdown favorite. Should we win by that much? Yeah, we should. Do we win by that much? My prediction is yes. Yes, we do. We cover. We look good. We're in. We're out. I don't care if this game's over in 2 hours, man. Just run the ball the whole time. That's fine by me. 3 and out for them. Run the ball. 8-10 plays. 5-6 minutes off the clock each time. Boom. Let's get out of here. Let's go home and let's get into the bye week healthy and happy with a 6-0 record. I think we go on the road and take down Northwestern. Score prediction, I'll say, I think we put up 40 points again. I think we can keep that going. I'll say 42 to 10. 7. 10. 42 to 10. Final prediction. 42 to 10. Indiana will win and take down Northwestern. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you again for being here. Be sure you like the video if you haven't already. Comment your score predictions down below for Indiana and Northwestern football. Got to get your predictions heading into the bye week. Are we 6-0? Let me know down below. And then, of course, be sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a fantastic weekend, okay? We're back on Monday, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.